9 dangerous signs of evil people. Evil doesn't always look like a monster in the dark. In fact, the most dangerous people rarely look dangerous at all. They may be charming, intelligent, successful, even generous. They wear the perfect mask, blending into society, pretending to care and earning your trust. But underneath that carefully crafted image is something cold, calculating, and deeply destructive. These people aren't just toxic. They are strategic in how they manipulate, deceive, and break others down. Their goal isn't connection, it's control. And they don't come with warning signs flashing in red. They come with smiles, promises, and attention that feels almost too good to be true. The truth is, evil people rarely announce themselves. You only see them clearly when it's too late, after they planted seeds of self-doubt, isolated you from your support, and drained you emotionally. That's why it's crucial to recognize the signs early, to listen to your gut, even when your heart wants to believe the best. In this guide, we're going to break down 9 dangerously subtle signs that reveal someone's darker nature, whether it's in a relationship, a friendship, or even a family connection. These patterns are red flags you should never ignore, because the more clearly you see them, the less power they have over you. Sign 1. They use charm as a weapon, not a trait. At first glance, they seem magnetic, perhaps even irresistible. Their words are smooth, their smile disarming, and they know exactly what to say to make you feel seen, special, and understood. But here's the thing, their charm isn't genuine. It's a tool, a trap, a calculated act designed to disarm you, lower your guard, and make you more susceptible to their control. Evil people often master the art of appearing kind, charismatic, or even altruistic, at least on the surface. Their charm isn't rooted in warmth or empathy, but in manipulation. Think of it like a spider weaving a beautiful, glistening web. It looks delicate, almost artistic, but its sole purpose is to entangle prey. This kind of charm doesn't come with sincerity. It's laced with ulterior motives. They may flatter you endlessly, mirror your emotions, pretend to share your interests, and even fabricate experiences just to create a false sense of connection. Their goal? To gain your trust quickly, so they can exploit it later. The danger of this kind of person is that their charm makes you doubt your instincts. When something feels off later, when you catch them in a lie or notice their behavior shifting, you're more likely to second-guess yourself. You might say, but they were so nice, or maybe I'm overreacting. That's exactly what they want. They thrive in your confusion. This charm often masks darker tendencies. Once they've secured your trust, you might start seeing glimpses of their true nature. The subtle put-downs disguised as jokes, the manipulative guilt trips, or the gaslighting that leaves you questioning your own memory. But by that point, you're already emotionally invested. You might feel trapped, unsure how you got there. Another subtle clue? Their charm isn't consistent. It's usually reserved for people they want something from. You'll notice how they treat others when there's nothing to gain, waitstaff, co-workers, or even pets. That's where the mask slips. If they're cold, rude, or dismissive toward people they don't need, it reveals the transactional nature of their behavior. So, if someone seems too charming too quickly, if their compliments feel rehearsed, or if their warmth feels a little too perfect, it's worth pausing and observing. Authentic people show vulnerability. They don't always say the right thing, and their kindness isn't reserved for specific situations. But someone who weaponizes charm is always performing. True connection takes time. Evil people try to skip that part. They rely on charisma to disarm, deceive, and ultimately dominate. So trust your gut when something feels too good to be true. It often is. Sign 2. They thrive on the pain of others, even if they pretend not to. Most people feel some level of discomfort when others are in pain. Whether the friend going through heartbreak or a stranger stumbling on the street, our natural human response is to empathize, or at least acknowledge the suffering. But evil people operate on a different emotional frequency. They don't just lack empathy. They enjoy the discomfort, misfortune, and misery of others. It feeds something inside them. In psychology, there's a term for this: Schadenfreude, the pleasure derived from another person's pain. But evil people take it to another level. They're not just passive spectators. They're often the cause, or they wish they were. This can be subtle. Maybe they laugh when someone's embarrassed in public. Maybe they poke at someone's insecurities as a joke. Maybe they retell stories of others' failures with a sparkle in their eye. At first, you might brush it off. They're just blunt, or they have a dark sense of humor. But the pattern is always there. They feel most alive when someone else is hurting. Even when they're pretending to help, there's a sinister undertone. They may offer sympathy in public, while privately relishing your misfortune. Some may even create chaos or provoke emotional responses just to sit back and enjoy the fallout, like puppet masters pulling strings behind the scenes. They orchestrate drama to feel in control. And here's the chilling part. They'll often mask it with fake concern. "Oh no, I just want what's best for them," they'll say, right after planting a seed of doubt or telling a half-truth that wrecks someone's self-esteem. Their words and actions don't align. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that they seem a little too calm or satisfied when things go wrong, especially when it's a common denominator. This isn't just a moral flaw, it's dangerous. Because when someone feels no remorse for harming others and even takes pleasure in it, they're capable of cruelty most people can't fathom. The worst part? They're often good at hiding it until it's too late. If someone always seems to be around when things fall apart, or if they smile just a little too much when someone's hurting, it's worth asking why. Because real friends wince at your pain. Evil people smile at it. Sign 3. They are masters of manipulation and gaslighting. One of the most sinister traits of evil people is their ability to manipulate reality itself, not just to lie, but to reconstruct your sense of truth in a way that benefits them and confuses you. This goes beyond deception. It's a deliberate, often slow-burning strategy called gaslighting. At first, it's subtle. They might question your memory. "Are you sure I said that?" "You're too sensitive. No one else would have taken it that way." These little comments seem harmless alone, but strung together over time, they can make you question your perception of reality. Gaslighting is psychological warfare. It's meant to wear you down until you're no longer sure what you saw, heard, or felt. And once your trust in your own mind is broken, they take over. You'll find yourself leaning on their version of events. You'll apologize for things you didn't do. You'll suppress your instincts. And you'll stay because you're not even sure what's real anymore. Manipulators like this know how to weaponize emotions. They study your patterns. What makes you feel guilty? What triggers your insecurities? What you're desperate to hear? Then they use that knowledge to control you. They might dangle approval like a reward or withhold affection as punishment. One moment they'll love bomb you with praise and attention, and the next they'll withdraw completely, leaving you scrambling for answers. They also isolate, not necessarily by locking you away, but by sowing doubt about everyone else in your life. Your friend doesn't really support you. Your family's always been against you. Before long, your circle shrinks. You rely on them more. And that's exactly where they want you, alone, confused, and emotionally dependent. What makes it even scarier is how convincing they are. To outsiders, they may seem kind, reasonable, even victimized. They know how to play roles. The misunderstood lover, the caring friend, the humble co-worker. So if you try to speak up, others might not believe you. You start to question if you're being too harsh, too emotional, too broken. But make no mistake, this is calculated. It's not random or unconscious. Evil people manipulate to dominate, and gaslighting is their favorite weapon because it's nearly invisible. You don't even know it's happening until you're in too deep. If someone consistently makes you feel like the problem, especially when you're simply expressing how you feel or what you remember, it's time to take a step back. No one should ever make you doubt your own mind. Sign 4. They turn victimhood into a power tool. We've all known people who've gone through hard times, people who carry wounds, who've suffered loss, betrayal, injustice. And most of us, when we're hurting, look for healing. But evil people, they turn their pain into a weapon. This is a type of person who always plays the victim, even when they're clearly in the wrong. They use sympathy like currency. It buys them attention, excuses, and power over others. The moment you question their behavior, they flip the narrative. Suddenly, they're the one who's hurt. They're misunderstood. You're the aggressor, even if you were simply setting a boundary or standing up for yourself. It's psychological judo. They use your natural empathy against you, and it's effective. Why? Because humans are wired to comfort the wounded. When someone cries, shows vulnerability, or shares trauma, we soften. We second-guess ourselves. Evil people know this, and they exploit it to avoid accountability and keep the upper hand. These individuals often have a carefully curated archive of past grievances. They bring them up strategically, especially when you're trying to hold them accountable. If you confront them about lying or hurting someone, they'll pivot instantly to their trauma, their struggles, or how unfairly they've been treated. The focus shifts off their behavior and onto their supposed suffering. It's not that they haven't experienced hardship. Some truly have. But they weaponize that hardship to manipulate the people around them. And they never heal from it, because healing would mean losing that power. You'll also see them pit others against each other. They might tell conflicting stories to different people, framing themselves as a victim every time. It creates confusion, division, and loyalty through pity. They'll say things like, "No one understands how much I've been through," or "Everyone always turns on me." And suddenly, people rally around them, while their actual victims are left isolated and discredited. A key red flag? They never take responsibility. Everything bad that happens to them is someone else's fault. They live in a constant loop of blame, denial, and manipulation. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled into it too. True victims seek truth. They want clarity, healing, and justice. Evil people only want leverage. And the role of the victim, for them, is just another disguise to stay in control. Sign 5. They sabotage others to feel powerful. Control is like oxygen to evil people. They need it to survive, but not just control over situations. They crave control over people. And one of the easiest, most insidious ways they achieve this is through sabotage. This isn't always as dramatic as setting someone up for failure, though sometimes it is. More often, it's subtle. They undercut your confidence with a sarcastic comment. They forget to pass on important information that makes you look unprepared. They plant quiet doubts in others' minds about you, and they do it all with a smile. Their sabotage is strategic, often hidden behind the facade of concern. I don't want to say anything bad, but you didn't hear this from me, but I just think they're not ready for that kind of responsibility. One of the telltale signs? They never seem to celebrate your success. In fact, your success threatens them. When you're doing well, they'll either go silent, criticize your accomplishments, or subtly insert themselves into your story to steal the spotlight. Because deep down, they can't stand to see others shine. Your light dims theirs, and they can't tolerate that. They also use sabotage to create dependency. If you're constantly doubting yourself, constantly tripping over obstacles they've quietly placed in your path, you're more likely to turn to them for help. And when you do, they tighten their grip. It becomes a toxic cycle. They break you down and act like your savior. Sometimes they'll even set up conflicts between others. They'll tell one person one version of the story and a completely different version to someone else. Then they sit back and watch the fallout, gaining influence over both sides while remaining innocent. Divide and conquer is one of their favorite tactics. What makes them dangerous is how invisible their sabotage can be. Because if you confront them, they'll act shocked, even hurt. I was just trying to help. Why are you being so defensive? They love making you feel like you're the problem for noticing the pattern. But once you do notice it, everything clicks. The missed emails, the passive-aggressive remarks, the constant undermining masked as feedback. It's all part of the same game, keeping you small so they can feel big. Sign 6. They are pathological liars with no remorse. Lying is second nature to evil people, so much so that truth to them becomes more suggestion than a rule. And they don't just lie to avoid consequences. They lie to manipulate, to control, and sometimes just because they can. What makes their lying particularly dangerous is the ease with which they do it. There's no hesitation, no visible guilt, no trace of internal conflict. It rolls off their tongue as smoothly as water. They can fabricate entire stories, backed with fake details, fake emotions, and even fake tears. And they can do it while looking you directly in the eyes. To them, lies are not a deviation from normal. They are the norm. They'll lie about small things to test your boundaries. And when they see they can get away with it, they'll escalate. Over time, you'll realize entire portions of your relationship with them were built on a false foundation. Worse, when caught, they rarely own up. Instead, they'll gaslight, twist the facts, or create even bigger lies to cover up the first one. Some will shift the blame entirely, making you the villain for accusing them. Others will use their lies to isolate you. Don't listen to what they said. I know them better than you do. That's not what happened. You're remembering it wrong. Their lies aren't just self-serving. They're destructive. They ruin reputations, destroy relationships, and leave lasting emotional damage. And yet, the liar often walks away unscathed, leaving others to pick up the pieces. The scariest part? You'll probably believe them at first, because they lie with conviction. Their body language is aligned. Their voice is steady. They say exactly what you want or need to hear. By the time the truth starts to crack through the surface, it's already done serious damage. That's why when you find yourself constantly confused, backtracking conversations, or feeling like reality keeps shifting, you might be dealing with someone who doesn't just lie occasionally, they live in lies. Sign 7. They lack genuine empathy or compassion. Empathy is an emotional thread that connects us to each other. It's what makes us flinch when someone else is hurt, cry during a sad movie, or feel joy for a friend's success. For evil people, though, that thread is cut, or maybe it was never there at all. They can mimic empathy. Of course, many do. They know how to imitate the right facial expressions, say comforting words, or pretend to care. But there's no real emotion behind it. It's a performance, a tool to achieve something, whether that's approval, control, or simply blend in. You can usually feel the difference. When someone has genuine empathy, their concern feels safe, warm, human. With an evil person, it feels hollow. There's a disconnect, a delay, or an uncanny slickness that leaves you unsettled. This lack of compassion becomes especially clear during moments of vulnerability. When you're hurt, scared, or in need of support, they'll often seem indifferent or worse, annoyed. They may dismiss your feelings, minimize your pain, or even mock your emotions. They might say things like, "Why are you being so dramatic? It's not that serious." Other people have it worse. And when they cause harm, don't expect remorse. They may offer a forced apology, but their behavior won't change. That's because empathy isn't something they feel. It's something they fake when necessary. This emotional void also explains why they can inflict so much damage without blinking. They don't internalize the consequences of their actions. They don't feel the weight of your tears, the pain in your voice, or the shattered trust they leave behind. They just move on, sometimes even laughing as they go. If you find yourself constantly trying to explain your feelings to someone, or worse, justify your pain to them, it might not be because you're too sensitive. It might be because they're incapable of truly caring. Sign 8. They drain you emotionally and leave you feeling empty. You may not be able to put your finger on it at first. You might just notice that after spending time with this person, you feel exhausted, anxious, or even numb. It's not the kind of tired you get from a long conversation or a late night. It's deeper. It's the kind of fatigue that seeps into your bones and lingers, like they siphon off a part of your soul. That's what evil people do. They don't just cause harm in obvious ways. They slowly and systematically drain the people around them, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They feed off your attention, your energy, your reactions. Whether through constant drama, manipulation, or manufactured crises, they make sure the emotional spotlight is always on them. They'll often bring chaos into your life, not by accident, but by design. Every time things start to feel calm, they stir the pot. An unexpected outburst, a crisis that demands your full attention, a conflict that seems to come out of nowhere. It keeps you in a state of high alert, constantly reacting, constantly managing their emotions while neglecting your own. And here's the trap. They make you believe that you're the only one who can help them, that if you leave, they'll fall apart, that they need you, your empathy, your loyalty, your strength. It can feel flattering at first, like you're important in their life. But it's not mutual. You're not seen as a person. They see you as a resource, a well to draw from whenever they feel empty. In time, your world shrinks. You may stop seeing friends, lose interest in hobbies, or become emotionally depleted. You'll notice that your joy, your spark, your confidence starts to fade. You might even feel guilty for wanting space or needing boundaries. That's how deep their grip can go. Evil people often don't yell or scream to control you. They just wear you down over time until you're too tired to fight back, until you forget who you were before they came into your life. That's the ultimate goal, not to destroy you all at once, but to erode you piece by piece until you surrender. Recognizing this kind of emotional vampirism is hard, especially if you're someone who wants to help or heal others. But it's crucial to remember love, friendship, connection. None of those things should leave you feeling chronically drained. If you constantly feel like less of yourself after interacting with someone, it might not be you. It might be them. Sign 9. They have a deep desire to control, dominate, and dehumanize. This is the most dangerous sign of all, and the most insidious. Evil people at their core are driven by a need to control, not just situations or outcomes, but people, and not just influence, domination. They don't feel safe unless they're above you in some way, mentally, emotionally, socially, or even physically. Control for them is everything. It feeds their ego, calms their inner chaos, and gives them a sense of godlike power. They want to be the puppet master in every relationship. Your thoughts, your decisions, your sense of self, all of it must orbit around them. They may achieve this control through obvious tactics like threats, intimidation, or aggression, but more often it's covert, subtle. They may undermine your confidence so you stop trusting your own judgment, or they may love bomb you with affection, only to withdraw it as punishment when you displease them. They create invisible strings, and they pull them whenever they feel you slipping away. The ultimate red flag? They don't want partners, equals, or friends. They want subjects. People who serve a purpose, obey unspoken rules, and never challenge their authority. And if you resist, that's when the mask truly slips. You'll see the rage come out, the calculated coldness, the sudden shift from charm to cruelty. They may try to isolate you, control your finances, sabotage your support systems, or break you down psychologically. In extreme cases, they may even try to rewrite your identity, telling you what you can wear, who you can talk to, how you should feel, what to believe. It's not about love or connection. It's about dominion. But perhaps the darkest trait of all is this. They do not see others as fully human. They may say all the right words, talk about love, empathy, kindness, but underneath, they see people as tools, chess pieces, objects to be moved, broken, or sacrificed if necessary. This dehumanization allows them to hurt others without remorse, because in their mind, they aren't hurting a person. They're adjusting a piece on the board. This desire to dominate isn't always loud. Sometimes it's dressed in concern, disguised as guidance, wrapped in affection. But if your choices are slowly disappearing, if your voice keeps getting quieter, if your life starts to revolve around pleasing one person, it's time to break the spell, because no one has the right to own you. And anyone who tries to control you in the name of love, loyalty, or protection is not on your side. Conclusion: evil doesn't always show up with fangs and fire. It often wears a friendly face, speaks in soft tones, and pretends to care. But behind the charm, the manipulation, the control, is someone who thrives on power, pain, and deception. These 9 signs are your warning lights. If someone consistently charms or control, lies without guilt, manipulates your mind, drains your energy, destroys your confidence, plays the victim, lacks empathy, enjoys your pain, or tries to dominate you, then it's not a relationship. It's a trap. The most powerful thing you can do is recognize it. Trust your instincts and walk away. You're not weak for leaving. You're strong for choosing your peace. Evil only wins when it goes unnoticed. But once you see it clearly, you take your power back. Stay aware, stay grounded, and never apologize for protecting your light.